Hello there. Good evening and welcome to another refreshing package of our program, ABUJA Dispatch. And for those joining us for the very first time, this is a platform that is specially created to relive to your living rooms those events and issues, and indeed those characters that have shaped the thoughts of many in the outgoing week. Adegboye Garogodo is my name, and this is ABUJA Dispatch. Let's start off with those stories that made up our news headlines in the outgoing week.
The Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs on Tuesday expressed satisfaction at the progress of work on the Presidential Wing, VIP, of the State House Clinic in the Presidential Villa, scheduled to be completed by December 2022. The chairman of the committee, Senator Danjuma La, during an oversight inspection visit by members of the committee, commended the contractors and the management of the State House, led by the Permanent Secretary, Tijani Umar, for complying with the time schedule for the completion of the project. The lawmaker said the leadership of the Senate is determined to ensure that the clinic is properly equipped to provide world-class medical services to principal officers in the Presidential Villa. The Nigerian Senate has voted overwhelmingly against further amendment to the Electoral Act 2022. A cross-section of senators stressed on the need to respect a court order, but the Senate President insisted that the lawmakers will not be committing any offense if they go ahead with the amendment. Before the consideration of the proposal, the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, had insisted the Parliament will go ahead to amend Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act despite a court order asking the National Assembly not to tamper with the section without due process. The House of Representatives has urged the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to prosecute reported cases of child sexual molestation to serve as deterrent to others. The resolution is sequel to a motion raised during plenary on Wednesday by Honorable Ganiu Johnson, member representing Oshodi Isolo Federal Constituency of Lagos State. Honorable Johnson worried that the ugly trend portends great danger for the society and the future of Nigeria, as victims of sexual molestation often end up as dysfunctional individuals. The Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, says the federal government Ember Month's palliative measures towards fixing Nigerian roads are paying off. Fashola made the remark in Abuja during a performance review meeting of stakeholders on the 2021 Ember Month and post-raining season palliative measures on Nigerian roads. The Ember Month's palliative measures on major busy roads, Minister Fashola later said, have indeed helped to ensure seamless travelling by the general public, even as the accident rates, according to reports by Federal Road Safety Commission, reduced by 9%.
Welcome back. Recently, a bill that seeks to create additional special seats for women in the National Assembly passed the second reading in the lower chamber of the Nigerian Federal Parliament. The bill is expected to remedy the low representation of women in legislative houses by providing additional separate seats to be contested and filled by only women in the National Assembly. This is a temporary measure to promote women's representation, one will say. On Deadline this week, we shift attention to the key challenges Nigerian women face, not only in the political representation, but in other spheres of contemporary life. Stay with us.
Globally, women are key contributors in the development of any country. However, the issues of women exclusion and low participation in politics and decision-making have continued to generate attention worldwide. Though men and women are biologically and physiologically different, the both attain same educational qualifications, socio-economic status, and occupation, among others. Yet, women are unequally represented in some aspects of public life. For instance, in Nigeria, obnoxious social norms, political exclusion, and economic disparity dictates the presence and voice of women in public life.
We need financial empowerment. We need to be empowered politically. When women are given position of authority, they will excel. And the most important thing is, if a woman excels, the glory goes to the man. For example, I am a senator. I bear a name, not my father's name, is my husband's name. And so whatever I do that is positive, that is good, the glory goes to that name. And so when you empower one woman, you are empowering yourself as a man.
Holistically, to have sustainable plan in place, we must plan with women in mind. We must plan where we will remember that 70% of our population, they are women. Therefore, when you plan without them being part of that modular plan, you're just not planning holistically. And so, if you look at the simple analogy too, when you're working with just less than half of your body, you can't have full functionality of your body. So I think we're doing things that doesn't make sense and is of disservice to us as a nation.
Most of the parties are going into conventions. So as they're going to their conventions, they need to amend their constitutions. So we need to push. Like I said, we have to be extremely intentional. We have to push for the political parties. Most of us are in the national working committees of our political parties. So we need to go back to our national working committees, push for for women issues to be brought to the forefront of our convention.
Women that are there do not perform. We will hold them accountable, but let them have their rights. We want to be appreciated. We don't want to be said to be the dancers. Now we want to be the players.
We pray that this time around, anybody that is coming out, you should come out with the help of women. Because when you have to have mind, if you have women in your heart, you are going to make it.
So all we are doing here is calling out to government, calling out to legislators, calling out to all duty bearers out there to involve women in decision making and in governance.
According to the 2006 Nigerian population census figure, women constituted 49% of the total population. But there's been a gross gender gap between men and women, especially in political representation, economic management, and leadership. The top 5 challenges affecting women in Nigeria were found to be lack of financial empowerment, poverty, lack of access to quality education, gender inequality, and domestic violence. These challenges threaten the very existence of women, hinder their capabilities, and distract them from pursuing sustainable human development. Therefore, concerted efforts are imperative to mainstream inherent relevant gender issues.
The Ninth National Assembly needs to amend the Nigerian Constitution to include gender parity and to enact laws that will improve the lot of Nigerian girls and women. The Ninth National Assembly needs to challenge and change laws that infringe on women's rights. We all are aware that we passed the Police Act. It's in the National Assembly. The Police Act, there's a portion of the Police Act that says for a policewoman to get married, you need to take permission from the Commissioner of Police, which is not the same with the male folk. We need to work on that.
Women are those that are most heated. When you talk of the girl child, those are the ones facing harassment every day, rape cases every second. And yet we are shouting out, let there be a severer punishment for the foolish people that feel that a child of 2 months should be violated. Such should be put to death. We call for death sentence. It's not been approved. Nigerian politics, we all know, no mincing of words, is full of violence. Women are peace lovers. How do you expect a woman to carry gun or organize thugs to go out to canvass?
I believe that we need to have a very holistic plan that will include women from the onset. And that means that we must create first enabling environment, because women must be part of that plan for it to be holistic enough. 2, you must remember that a huge part of your population is being excluded in that planning. And again, it doesn't make sense.
According to NOI polls, analysis and solutions to some economic issues showed that the top 3 recommendations include establishment of vocational training programs, 40%, provision of soft loans by government for women to start a business, 32%, and provision of more employment opportunities for women by the government, 17%. The relevant organs of government should also establish a legal department to focus mainly on advocating legislation against social and legal practices against women in Nigeria. Finally, the government, international organizations, partnership agencies, and non-governmental organizations should synergize and create policies and various socio-economic empowerment programs for women in Nigeria to remedy some of these challenges.
Thanks for staying with us. Since after the first census was undertaken in Nigeria in 1962, census exercises have triggered political, social, and religious controversies, geopolitical distrust, and disputes that negatively affect nation building and sustainable development in the country. This week on Split Views, we had a no-holds-barred session with Honorable Nasir Issa Kwara, who is the chairman of the Nigerian Population Commission, the body mandated by law to collect, analyze, and disseminate population and demographic data in the country for strategic planning. Join us. Welcome to the Split Views segments of our program, ABUJA Dispatch. And on Split Views tonight, we take on the chairman, National Population Commission, Honorable Nasir Issa Kwara. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's start off. The commission has a lot of constitutional mandates. But the general one that many people know is conducting national census. But I know there are other constitutional assignments given to the commission. How has it been since you have taken up the mantle of leadership?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the National Population Commission is known for census taking, for the conduct of national housing, population and housing census. But we have a lot of things in our basket. We carry out surveys in the socio-economic sector, especially the health sector, the education sector. We also do birth registration, which is ongoing. Every day of the week, we do the registration, except maybe weekends and public holidays. We also advise government on population matters, especially as we are in now, given the current structure of Nigeria's population, where there's preponderance of youth population. We advise government on what to do to make sure that we get a demographic dividend from this population structure. We do a lot of other things. We also take stock of national assets. From what we are doing in the enumeration area demarcation, we know the stock of buildings that we have in the country, bridges and what have you. We know the stock. So those are things that we've been doing. But census has been the main thing. And we're hoping that we should be able to, with the technology we've adopted, census will not be as extensive henceforth as we've been doing before, because the mainframe, which is the EAD, has been well established for use in future censuses too.
Now, let me ask you this. You've been talking about demarcation exercise. What is enumeration area demarcation? What does it mean?
Oh, thank you very much. Sorry, I assume that, yes, but I'll provide the answer. Enumeration area demarcation is an exercise that the National Population Commission does in, the entire landscape of the country is split into some smaller units that can be handled by two enumerators, because we normally have a pair of enumerators who go and conduct census. By the time we're conducting census, normally times are given 3 days or 2 days. So within that period, you should be able to cover that area and send in your data without extending beyond to affect the jobs of or extending the coverage of the exercise. Yeah, that's the enumeration area demarcation.
So, as it were now, there are challenges, I believe, because I think recently you inaugurated some members or a kind of a set of people to go to the field, a kind of a pre-census exercise stuff. What have been the feedback?
The response is quite good. You see, Nigerians are very, very interesting human beings. Some, in fact, a large proportion have given us the cooperation that we need, and we're thankful to them for that. There are a few that are, very adamant. They prefer to continue to criticize government work. They see it more as something else. Then there are those that just sit on the fence. They are nonchalant. But we are on our part are trying to bring everyone on board so that we can accept this exercise as our own. It is Nigeria's exercise, not the Commission's exercise, it's Nigeria's exercise. We should adopt it as our own. The federal government takes the responsibility for funding the census because it's in the exclusive list. But the benefit of census is not to federal government alone, it's to the states, local government, and even international community. Yes.
Now, that means that you need the cooperation of the local government, the state government, and even private, stakeholders generally.
We have been given that. The state government normally comes in handy when we go in for the enumeration area demarcation. We normally write to inform them we'll be coming, and they should assist with advocacy, enlightenment, sometimes logistics. So they support us, the state and local government, and the international partners, development partners. They also come in, providing technical support and sometimes financial assistance.
I put it to you, sir, many people believe that the nation's developmental agenda has not been really been at the right pace because there is no sustainable data. You just mentioned some steps being taken by the Commission to get data in all the different sectors. But as it were, how sustainable are those steps that we are taking? Because people want to know how many are we, how many are these things, how many are these, in order for government to plan for developmental purposes.
Okay. You see, the periodicity for conduct of census is very, very important. If we abide by it, we always continue to update our data. But having stayed for so long, up to 15 years without conducting census, most of the data will be outdated. What we just do are estimates. And estimates, you can never compare estimate with the real census data that is produced. So what we're trying to do is to get the National Assembly to amend the Constitution and the law establishing the Commission to make sure that we incorporate the periodicity of taking census decennially every 10 years. Whether like we do for election, whether there is rain, sunshine, when it is 4 years, election will be conducted. So census should be like that too. So that is one step. Then two, the methodology adopted in conducting demarcation enumeration exercise. We have now adopted an electronic system for the enumeration area demarcation. We have satellite imageries of the entire landscape of the country. And we have that, and this is a frame that will not change. If you build your house 10 years ago, it's still there, it will be seen by now. And the next 5-10 years, it should still be there. Maybe there'll just be improvement if you want to renovate. If there are houses that were constructed, when we're doing the innovation education, they are halfway finished. By the time we're reviewing the process next time, we'll find it a complete building and probably occupied. So it is something that we have developed now that we continue to build on. In the past, we used manual system. We use maps, and maps, are so difficult to handle. They take space. Even the storage becomes a problem. You have rats eating most of the maps. So we have this now electronically stored in our database, and we continue to update it. So it makes the whole census taking easier in subsequent years. You don't have to go whole scale redoing what you had done before. It's just to update. And with the continuous birth registration, the scale of coverage becomes even lesser because you've captured the new birth into your system. So these are the, and the sustainable thing that we need to do is to continuously improve our working system. Continuously improve. We have to be creative and come up with innovative ways of making sure we improve on our operations so that we can deliver to our nation credible census, functional data, acceptable data for both national development and international relations too. Both public and private sector will use the data for the development of Nigeria.
So holistically, what would be your word now to Nigerians, is it advice or suggestions as to how they should take the exercise as as a release timetable?
I would like to first and foremost thank Nigerians immensely for the support they've given us in the course of carrying out this enumeration area demarcation, in doing our surveys, and the birth registration, all the things that we do. I like to thank Nigerians for the support, and I will crave their indulgence to continue to give us this support more and more, so that Nigeria becomes also a digital country that can provide digital data at any time. We need that for Nigeria to be part of the global community of nations.
We've been talking to the Chairman, National Population Commission, Honorable Nasir Issa Kwara. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
We are all aware that because of we're not making as much money as we used to from the sale of oil, and because of the reduction in the monies that come from that aspect of Nigeria's revenue generation, we want to utilize trade as a means of generating revenue for the country. So the action plan aims to utilize the existing national trade policy to facilitate an effective use of international trade and investment as tools for economic growth and poverty reduction in the country. So we got approval to engage with all the ministries and all the ministries, departments and agencies involved in trade and in revenue generation, and also the organized private sector and civil society organizations to ensure a successful implementation of the Trade Policy Action Plan.
That is how far time can permit us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. For further information, comments, and suggestions, you can reach us out on any of our various social media platforms. Thank you for sharing your moment with us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we'll bring you another refreshing package. Same time, same station. Adegboyega Arogodo is my name. Have a good night.